Hello and welcome to Obinna TV. So for now, I'd like to look at the switch of Eric Latiff to Nation Media Group. So of course, Eric Latiff was a former Spice FM presenter. Now he is going to switch over to Nation. So basically, this shows maybe I think he was given a salary of 1 million transferring to a Nation. Of course. That's quite a huge salary, but of course, I don't know whether he is moving in with his team of Ndu Oko and CT Muga. So, once again, Spice FM finds itself Standard Media Group hiding another talent. So, why can't Standard Media Group hold on to its talent? Why can't Standard Media Group hold on to its talent? So, I think it basically has to do with the Standard Media Group struggling. It is a struggling station, so basically, it is not able to hold on to Latiff, and I think this is really sad for the pioneer of private television in Kenya, private media in Kenya. Remember, Standard Group is over 123 years old. It was founded in 1902, and then you have KTN, I think, being founded in 1990. So basically, it was the pioneer private station, but now the likes of Royal Media and of course Nation Media Group are raiding in Standard Media Group. So maybe it has to retain, maybe Standard Media Group needs to retain just a few presenters paid top notch salary. So basically, I think in the media industry, it is the big brand names that people want to watch. It is the big brand names that people want to listen to, and so maybe that's the reason why Citizen TV, for instance, spends so much on hiring talent. Look at Jeff Koinange, look at Yvonne Okwara, look at Sam Gituku, look at Ayuba Dikadir, look at Rashid Abdallah, look at Lulu Hassan. They all draw in millions of shillings. Look at Jeff Koinange. I think he's paid even more than the editorial director. I think Jeff Koinange is paid 2 million shillings, 2 million shillings, so more than the editorial director. So you can't be sure that basically this is a salary that will attract. This is a salary that will attract a lot of people. Of course, for the likes of Citizen TV, they don't train new talent. It is KTN, the Standard Media Group, that trains new talent, but then after a short while, that talent leaves and goes on to rival stations. So basically, if you are not going to pay your employees well, then you can be sure that they are going to migrate. Then basically, the other thing is about the threat. Now, this is not just Standard Media Group alone. This is not just KTN alone. The mainstream media is facing a lot of pressure from social media. People are congregating in social media. That's where the numbers are. And in social media, then you have independent journalists. So people are increasingly consuming a lot of content from independent journalists, from independent news anchors. So that's how then we are able to draw in more people to be able to maybe just more people to be able to consume content from independent journalists. So now, what will be the future of urban radio now that Eric Latiff is leaving Force Nation FM? What will be the future of urban radio? I think urban radio is suffering a whole lot more. I think urban radio is suffering a whole lot more, and it is upon us to be able to remake urban radio so that then it can function in the way that it was intended to be. I think urban radio is basically going to function basically if we are going to make it possible for urban radio, and then that's the way we will be able to deduce that this is basically this competition from social media. So I think urban radio basically is suffering. Rural radio, at least rural people still don't have the money for bundles, for internet bundles, so they still consume the likes of Millennium FM, maybe Radio Citizen, maybe Radio Jumbo, maybe that is the other Radio 47. They still consume those radios, and the vernacular stations, they still consume them. But I think for urban radio, I think very much I think for urban radio, very much I think is about for urban radio. It's about what maybe what is the essence of the Kenyan. What is the essence of listening to urban radio? When I can listen, I can get all the news in social media. Remember, a timeline, a place such as X has experts in all the fields. You can imagine a platform such as X has experts in all sorts of fields, and so they interact quite very generously with all sorts of fields. If you want men's health, you can go to Amerix. If you want the latest gossip, you can go to Maverick Kaoko. If you want and that is incisive analysis of educational issues, you can go to one day enjoyer. So basically all these people are congregating on X and giving us expert analysis. So that is how we are going to have to deal with this new that is new social media. And of course social media, the purpose is just to break the news, and then for mainstream media is to confirm the news. So basically, I think urban radio is up for displacement, and I think even in the US, so of course TikTok is going to be banned on January 19th in the US. Of course, the incoming president Donald Trump has said he will look into the issue and will talk out. I will talk the authorities out, basically, where he will try and maintain that TikTok should not be banned. Of course, at the outset, he wanted in his first term he wanted TikTok to be banned, but that's not essential anymore. Right now, what is happening is that Donald Trump will be I think is open to the idea of TikTok being in the US. Remember, he campaigned also, he got a lot of votes from young people. He did podcast. I think it is his son, Baron Trump, who asked Dad, you have to do a podcast. And that is how then Donald Trump came to do podcast. So basically, Donald Trump is going to try and make sure that he is doing podcasts, and that is the way. Then he is going to reach out to maybe new media. Of course, now I think it is blogger Robert Alai who said that advertisers should be banned from advertising on these big tech platforms. He said this denies local media the necessary revenues. But I think that is just technology, and you just have to embrace it. The thing is at Africa, we need our own YouTube, we need our own X, we need our own Facebook, we need our own Snapchats, we need our own, so that then we will be able to tell our own stories. And I think if we have our own social media platforms, then we will be able to tell our own stories. So then I think that's just it. So basically, mainstream media is coming under collapse, and I think, of course, they need to do more. Others they will go the dinosaurs way. That's just it. Look at newspapers. People are not reading newspapers anymore, and they don't want to pay for news. So how will these people make money? Because remember, and I think it is surprising that it is the niche newspapers that are racking in online subscribers. You can look at Wall Street Journal. It is a business and finance publication. It is basically anchoring in. It has subscriptions of about 4 million subscribers. So you can imagine it is a niche business and finance newspapers that are racking in subscriptions. Look at Financial Times, look at the Wall Street Journal. Basically, while the likes of other stations, of course, New York Times is up there, but other stations are struggling. Look at I think New York Times was able to hire 600 reporters in 2019 because of enhanced online revenues. But that's not so with the likes of Los Angeles Times, and I think you had Washington Post lose about 200,000 subscribers when it did not endorse a candidate in last year's elections in America. So you can see how mainstream media is coming under a huge strain. Then I will move over to ideas. In ideas, basically, I'm asking, can a company be large but also agile? Can a company be large but also agile? That is, can a company have the resources of a multinational but yet also have the speed and agility of a startup? That is, can a company be large but also agile? Can a company have the resources of a multinational but yet have the speed and agility of a startup? So you had Nokia and Motorola. They were the market leaders in feature phones, but they never transitioned to be the market leaders in smartphones. That was taken up by Apple and Samsung. And then you had IBM being the market leader in personal computing hardware, but it never transitioned to be the market leader in personal computing software. That was taken out by Microsoft. And then Microsoft itself, it was the market leader in personal computing software, but it never transitioned to be the market leader in and the market leader in and that is in internet search was taken out by Google. So Microsoft never transitioned to be the market leader in internet search. That was taken out by Google. And then Google itself, it was the market leader in search, but it never transitioned to be the market leader in social media. It tried Google Plus, but Google Plus, it had to kill that product, and basically it spent about $1 billion on Google Plus, but of course it never transitioned to be the market leader in Google, and that is the market leader in social media. Of course, it tried, but it failed. It wanted to combine both X and Facebook, but it failed. And then, of course, the social media companies, basically they are the market leaders in social media, but they will not be the ones to transition us into, let's say, the augmented reality. That is, I think, metaverse, where the person across the screen will seem as though they are in the same room as you, and this will append online commerce, online shopping, online dating, online schooling, online telemedicine. And so basically, this is just the way it is going to be. So how does a company then position itself to be both large and innovative? It seems almost a Herculean task. It seems almost impossible. But I think for a capitalist, this is great. The fact that $1 trillion company, a company with hundreds of billions of dollars in cash reserves, can be taken down. That shows that capitalism is working, and that basically that is the function of capitalism is to reassign wealth, and so that shows that capitalism is working, and basically it is about reassigning wealth. So but I think for a business leader it is very scary that you could be the top of the industry and then be beaten by a small nimble player that has barely any resources. And I think for business leaders, this is the time maybe to ask whether this is the time to ask whether really incumbency, the power of incumbency, is anything at all. And one solution I would think straight out of my mind, one solution I would think straight out of my mind is to spin off the R&D department. If you spin off the R&D department, I think and then you have the innovators report directly to the CEO, and maybe have them have patents for what they will be coming up with. You have them have patents, and so if you have them have patents, then basically that's the way we are going to have a company that is both large and agile. And I think in that way then we will be able to and I think in that way, then we will be able to have a company that is both large and agile. So, who do you think will be the market leaders in AI? Maybe that's the coming thing. Who will be the market leader in AI? So that's it, and then I will move over to Africa perspectives. In Africa perspectives, I'll be looking at President Paul Biya of Cameroon wants to contest for a seventh term. You can imagine President Paul Biya. I think Cameroon has a term limit of about 7 years. So President Paul Biya is going to contest for another term. So what does that mean? What does that mean? I think President Paul Biya has been in power for 42 years. President Paul Biya has been in power for 42 years. So what does that mean? I think it just means that basically the African dictator, the African big man, does not know that the essence of a great dancer isn't leaving the stage while applause from the crowd is loudest. That's just what it means, that the essence of a great dancer is in leaving the stage while applause from the crowd is loudest. African big man dictator waits until they are dragged off the stage, or when the audience has stopped clapping, or even left the auditorium and or left the auditorium anymore. So you can't have Paul Biya has been in power for 42 years. Before that, he was prime minister for 7 years. So basically, he is going to be in power for all that long, and then we wonder what is it he is going to offer the people of Cameroon that he has not offered in the last 42 years. So he is 92 years old. So by the time he wants to contest in 2026, in next year, he will be 93 years, and so that will take him to 100 years. So basically, he wants to be a life president. We have the same situation in Uganda, where you have the president's son, Mohozi, is looking at inheriting the seat from his father. Basically, Mohozi Kainerugaba is looking at basically inheriting the presidency from his father. So basically, in Africa, we are taking we are taking that if you are to be in leadership, then basically it's a family thing, and that's what is ailing Africa. That is, we think that being in power for all that long is going to aid anything. And in Kenya, you have suggestions that President William Ruto's term should be extended to 7 years, that the electoral cycle should be every 7 years. So you can imagine how these people want to cling on to power, and I don't think it is very okay for them to be able to do that. I don't think it is okay for them to be able to do that. So I think that is something that we really must look into, on why President Paul Biya is going to contest for a sixth term. You have a dictator such as the Cyrus Afwerki. I just think it's the time for a dictator. And I think the bad thing about dictators in Africa is that they oppress you politically, but also they don't give you economic prosperity. At least if a dictator could be oppressing you politically, authoritarian, but they give you economic prosperity, they could have some legitimacy. Look at the Asian dictators. Yes, they did not entertain dissent, such as Lee Kuan Yew of Singapore. They did not entertain dissent, but then what did they offer to their people? What they offered to their people was economic prosperity. They were, in essence, benevolent dictators, and maybe that's what we need in Africa, benevolent dictators. And I think if you have a dictator, look at the dictators in the kings in Qatar, in Dubai. Like in Dubai, UAE, for instance, what did they do when they realized that oil was going to run out? What did they do? They set out to diversify Dubai to be a business and tourism center, and to date, everyone, when they think of holiday, a cheap destination to go to, they no longer think about Florida, Miami, Florida. They just think about going to Dubai, and so basically, that's how they manage to repurpose their vision, and that's how the kings draw their legitimacy. But I think in Africa, we have dictators that want to oppress you politically, but also make you poor. So why would someone rule you if they don't want to make your life better? And that is why I say that African dictators really are the worst form of leadership that plagues Africa. These people don't know what ails us, and that is why they continually bring us down. So that is why they continually bring us down, and that is why I hope that that will change, at least at some point in the future. So that's it about now. And then I will look at Making America. In the Making America, who will be that is in the Making America, basically who will be the next leader of the Democratic Party. So the next leader of the Democratic Party has to be someone that caters to the working class. So if you're going to cater to the working class, then basically that's what the Democrats need. They abandoned the working class, and that is what is wrong with them. They abandoned the working class, and that is why I think they lost the working class vote. That is how they lost the working class vote, and I just think that the working class is what will bring the working class is what will bring the fortunes back to the Democratic Party. They are trying to get they have what they call the corporate centers. The corporate centers have ruined the Democrats because they are at the center. The corporate centers are at the center, and I just don't think they are. I just don't think they are very much going to cater to the working class. So I think you cannot. You heard President Obama saying at the end of his term that in any other developed country in the world, his rule would have been considered conservative. That is what Barack Obama said at the end of his term. He said that in any other developed country in the world, his rule would have been considered conservative. So that's it for now. Bye for now till the next time. Bye for now.